Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. So if you heard from the short, you already have a backstory. Our word was attitude. Supporting angel number card is Earth Angels. There was a lot coming through on a lot of different ways with this. We'll see what it focuses on. Goes into angels on assignment, spirituality, service, working with others, perspective. So, I don't know where we want to start here. We can look at that title in general, and let's just reflect back on like a young girl, and everybody's like, "Oh, she's such an angel," because she does what everybody says and doesn't trigger anybody. That kind of situation. And maybe we want to be special. Maybe we want to go with a title, and we think we have to be a certain way. Maybe we know, and we are going a certain way. We're presenting ourselves in a particular light because that's what's been categorized. These terms that we throw around in spirituality as a categorization makes us feel special, makes us feel connected to something. And I'm not saying it's not special, but the majority of people want to feel special, and they feel like they have to present themselves a certain way to carry a title or a way. When we really think of that, let's just look at why the angels carry swords. Why are they seen or projected a certain way, and we want to show up in a certain way to fit into that role or to be in that shape? Can look at that attitude. There is an awful lot inside of us that we suppress or withhold, or we mask or we cover up to fit into certain roles. Sure, this says earth angels, but we can look at that in every aspect of our life. uh, Not here to trigger, but hang on there. So we can look at, oh, we've all had bad thoughts of people once before. We've all judged people. We've probably all lied before. We've done things that don't fit into certain roles. And what happens when we start to think something like that? Do we cover it up? Do we run from it? Do we not say things to placate or to not hurt people, or to change this view or this title that or status that we're trying to withhold or uphold, I should say? These are all aspects inside of us that we all have, and that's okay because we're human and we have emotions. And what we do with those emotions depends on an outcome. If we're really in a position like this and we get triggered or offended or people hurt our feelings, there's always something there. And sure, I do talk a lot about healing, and obviously that's connected to that. But let's just look at being in a position. How do we de escalate a situation quickly? Well, we would validate somebody through understanding their situation. Otherwise, we would react, we would fight, we would argue, we would get defensive against the situation because it's going up against something that we believe is true or we want to be true. Uh, this all goes along with attitude. When we fall into these categories or these titles, we are taking away a part of ourselves, and we're fighting something inside of ourselves to withhold this title based upon what everybody else thinks, as well as ourselves, of who we are or what we want to be. All those extra aspects in us that we are covering up or masking are part of our purpose, are part of it's special to us. I don't know if I got into that yet, but I was talking about how we all want to be special. And if we have a soul, we are special. It's utilizing that aspect. And if we're covering that up or we're hiding that away because we're trying to fit in a category, we might not be able to find our purpose yet or fully integrate our true self to utilize to help everyone in our particular way, because we are individually special to do X, Y, or Z, or to express X, Y, or Z, however that may look. By pushing these aspects away that don't fit into a title or a category or a status that we are trying to be recognized by everyone else around us, uh, we're missing the point. We're missing us. we're missing our mission, if we will, or however you want to look at it, the purpose, because we're deeming things as bad. There are people out there that we wouldn't call this, but actually are, and they are addicted to things, they are homeless, they might just be a really mean person, but through that process, there is a triggering aspect taking place, an awakening, a healing, an energetic exchange that does not fit mainstream media's title of this. I'm not saying that we have to be horrible people. I'm saying that every aspect of you is a part of the expression of you. And when we are withholding that, we are not truly ourselves. We are not expressing it in the way it freely should be. And we are more concerned of what the external thinks. And through that, we have identified with that idea that I want to show up in this light because that's personal, however that's affecting us. What else do we have here, Spirit? Two of Pentacles, equilibrium. This is the dark and the light inside of us all. If anybody could make it through the idea of saying, when I said, we've all judged people, we've all lied, we've all thought bad things of people. Why? Why would we do that? Well, there's a wound in there, there's a trauma, there's a complex. It's no big deal. We all have them. Nobody is above that. It's what we do with it. And balancing those two things is integrating what we deem as bad and what we have this huge balancing scale here of I want this all the time, or I want to show up this way all the time, and I don't want any of this. When we utilize both, we become merging into one, and we can do a lot with that. We see everything as bad. We try to banish it that we don't like about ourselves. There is a lot in there, and there's reasoning, and we get in situations that aren't so great. And I'm not saying that this is tied to it 100%, but let's just look at like losing a lot of things in our life, whether tangible or relationship wise, and we get really low in that space. And we think, why would you be doing this to me? If I am something along these lines, why am I experiencing this? And through that period, we lose this grip on material or people that isn't necessary to generate all of this inside of us. And we generate it ourselves. We create that foundation. And it's kind of like those videos of like, don't mess with the guy that doesn't give a fuck or the girl that doesn't give a fuck, because nothing will trigger them. Nothing matters at that point anymore because they've gotten so low to stop caring about these things. And through that process is an extremely strong individual. And I'm not saying that they stay there forever, but going through that, everything becomes okay. It's the idea if we died and we look back and it's like, oh yeah, that was nothing. But when we're living it, it's real and hell to some. It is painful, but we are human and we have these emotions, and it's our choice what to do with them. We can allow them to control us, to chase, to fill the voids that we're unwilling to view, and to banish those qualities or traits or thoughts or emotions. And instead we can integrate them, balance them, and use them as a whole instead of, as I often talk about, a separate part of ourselves. Got the High Priestess, intuition, merging through, I should say, a bigger view of everything, understanding things. I don't know if I said about, I think I did in this video, about the idea of NPCs. And if you really go walking around and we think, does that person have a soul? Does that person not have a soul? There's a different view on everything. We can choose what to take ownership of. And when something happens or something triggers, uh, normally we view it as everything out there is doing it onto me, and not how I'm feeling, or it's not helping me. It's trying to interrupt me, upset me, destroy me, affect me. Changing this viewpoint is a higher understanding, a higher perspective that everything that's happening out there is here to help me, even though it's horrible, even though it's painful, even though it's destructive. It is trying to help me. And when I look at it that way, I can see what's going on in here, what I gotta do, what I gotta release, what I'm doing or feeling inside that's might be holding me back, keeping me stuck, keeping me in a mindset, thinking a certain way. All those destructive patterns is kind of like that I don't give a fuck guy. It is removing this, it's giving the opportunity to create this or show us why we keep running back to a toxic relationship or repeating these cycles. We're getting in things for safety, feeding these wounds or these insecurities. Uh, the main word was attitude. It's what we choose to do with it. Uh, I'm not saying anything's easy in life. And I'm not saying bad things don't happen and they're extremely painful to go through. I'm not taking away from that. And I'm not saying it's a light switch that we can just turn on or off. But what is the point? Why am I experiencing this? How is this reflecting in me? And what can I do with my energy, my attitude? How can I utilize this instead of allowing it to destroy me? Five of Swords reversed. Reconciliation. I almost wanted to cry there, because it started to come through of like these people, say they did bad things to us, whether relationship, work, or just society in general, and they really put a scar on us. They really hurt us. And we get into that forgiveness aspect. And I don't, some people can't forgive. And sometimes we can, and it takes a really long time. And sometimes we forgive because we think we're supposed to, but deep down inside, we're still hanging on to it, and like we're beating ourselves up inside, subconsciously over the situation. But we did it just to make peace. And what it was giving is, uh, the sad part is thanking them, which no one could often see in a time, depending on what took place. But they were a catalyst, they were a trigger to help you heal something and to free you. And we don't see it that way. How could we? They did horrible things. It's extremely painful. But when we see this view, when we understand that if I didn't go through that and I wasn't treated this way, or this destruction happened and everything was ripped from my life or my soul or my heart, and I was scarred for life or whatever it was, going through that experience, I would have never been able to see this wound or this trauma or this complex that I was carrying, that I was living out of, that I was working this mask. And until they did that to me, I finally saw it, and I could heal it now. I can free myself where I can make decisions not based upon that wound. I am free. And that's really tough to see depending on where we're at in our life and what was done to us. But when we do, we have an amazingly new perspective that not many people walk on this earth with. And through this, we can balance and we can understand ourselves and really come into whatever it is that we're supposed to do here to gain that fulfillment that may not look like fulfillment to everybody else. The Magician reversed. Trickery. We can talk about the others. We can also talk about ourselves, our mind. Uh, when we start evolving like this and expanding, uh, ourselves will be the first resistance, obviously. We've been living a certain way, we've had certain perspective, we've had certain views, and changing that takes us out of comfort. It going up against the ego, the subconscious, the shadow, whatever we want to look at here. And there's a lot of resistance there. And when we get through that, then we're going to have people that we know around us that are going to go up against that resistance. And then the collective shadow as well. There's a lot of resistance. These energies, whether it's an ancestral jinn or energy or entity or whatever that maybe followed the line around, and that'll be body jumping. It'll be there. It'll be in everything, trying to get your attention, trying to keep you back where you were. Uh, if it wasn't ancestral, it was just an energy in general, we're going to see that pop up in other romantic options or relationships, work colleagues, random people at the store. It's going to chase you. And it wants to know, are you done? I want to cry again. Are you done? Are you ready to let go of this? Are you ready to heal this? Have you learned? Have you released it? And it's coming through. It's all a game. And that's a sad way to look at it, but sometimes an empowering way to look at it. That, you don't fail. You're not losing anything. It feels like we are, because we're here. We're human. We're experiencing it. But it's our choice what to do with it. And when we know those wounds, we choose what our attitude is, whether we give it energy or not. I don't know why I'm still shuffling. The Seven of Cups, dreams and desires. Also, the word illusions. The illusion, whether against a wound, like I need this to feel safe, I need this in my life, this person in my life. It's given that idea of like a young love, first relationship, and breaking up with that person, and we can't live without them. It was so devastating. It was so important. It was so true. Maybe later in life, a very long-term relationship or even a short-term relationship, we were very dependent on that for X, Y, or Z, going up against whatever wound. Same thing with an addiction or a habit. Giving that up, it filled a hole. It was the illusion that we needed it because it was medicating or pacifying the wound. When we see the wound, we can understand our actions, our behaviors, our patterns. We started with Earth Angel, and we're talking more about ourselves, which we should be. We should stick on that. Oh, this is Nine of Cups reversed. Reassessment. Reassessing ourselves, our actions, our behaviors, our thoughts. But we're going back to, I always show the shadow out here like it's not a part of me, which is a poor explanation for it, because it belongs in here. This is going on the aspect of trying to push it away, banish it. I don't want to deal with this. This triggers me. This hurts my feelings. This makes me feel insecure. I'm pushing it away. We need to bring it back home, bring it back in here, and not use it or view it as bad. This is this balancing act. Once we see what it was there for, what it was doing, where it came from, the decisions it made for us, we can bring it back in. And there is good information in there. There's good aspects in there. Sometimes we need to pitch a fit, if we will, if something is so absurd. And normally we pulled away from that because we were acting too much out of it because of an insecurity, or people made us feel insecure or less than, and we acted out all the time, or we needed all this attention, so we were dramatic to get attention when really we were looking out there to fill this void that we have now filled in here. But sometimes we need to make a scene to get a point across. Who knows? Whatever aspect is in there needs to come back home. We just need to be understanding of it. That, hey, when I started, I mentioned about thinking bad thoughts about people or judging people, and and we think we can't be that in a certain light or status or titles. And I'm not vouching that it's a good thing depending on what level it is, but it's a part of us, whoever we are. We have something connected to that, and we can do something with it. A Seven of Pentacles reversed. Frustration. Uh, just going on those thoughts uh, that we can't turn off at times. Those negative aspects that are in us, and we're trying to push them away, and they keep coming back. Well, that's the time to view them if we're in this position. All this popping up, all this triggering, all this, hey, look at me. I'm here to piss you off. I'm here to aggravate you. I'm here to tickle that wound, that trigger, that trauma, whatever it is. Uh, it's that opportunity. And that's going back when I got quite emotional on the idea that these bad situations, these people that did bad things, or cards we were dealt, whatever it was this helping hand, and we don't see it that way. Maybe we're still carrying frustration over the aspect that this was done to us. We were still in the victim mentality. We were still done upon versus propelled forward or given the opportunity to heal. These are some serious questions. I don't know where most of the world is, let alone the people watching this. Where are we really in our mind in comparison with everything I just said? Are we seeing things like that? Are we open to that? Can we comprehend that? Are we willing to see that? Do we want to? This all pulls back to our identity and what we identify with. If we like being a victim, we'll stay there, and that's a fine place, depending on for who it's for and what we're going through. Are we trying to be or want to be seen in a certain light that we really can't be because we're suppressing aspects of ourselves, we're molding ourselves to fit into certain boxes or categories? Uh, how much are we putting out there in the external to live our life versus just being us and taking this guy or girl and bringing her back home into us? I'm going to leave this here. If this resonated, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. I will talk to y'all later.